We're 24 hours away from election, and there's still a few undecided voters out there. As both parties continue to campaign, there's also a lot of misinformation. And joining us to talk further about AI's role in misinformation is Haj Fleming. Thanks a lot for coming in, Haj.
I'm excited to be here today.
All right, let's talk about this AI. I mean, they can recreate video, they can recreate voices. How do we know what we're hearing from these presidential candidates is actually the truth?
So first of all, I want to start off with the amount of information that we have to digest every day. The average person is exposed to about 74 gigs of information per day. So let me give you some context around it. That's like watching 16 two-hour movies or reading 3 to 5 350-page books.
Overload.
Overload, right? So now what happens is that the brain has to synthesize all of this data and information. And so what it does is that it tends to categorize information that is repeated over time. And so that's why you see all of these ads and you see them back to back. And what they do is that they then know that if they're playing these ads over and over again, what happens is that you then start to look at this information as being true, and it lowers the bar of you having to synthesize and really kind of think through what you're being exposed to.
Yeah, it's all that repetition. I mean, it really does get in your brain, like you say.
I can't wait till November the 6th, so we have no more political ads.
No more political ads, that's right. Yeah. If only it was that easy and all that political stuff went away. Yeah. So let's talk about then the AI in particular. I mean, is there that much misinformation out there regarding AI?
So yes, so now, we had this conversation probably about a year ago, and so the data and the information is harder to detect today than it was a year ago because the technology has gotten to a point to where, from a visual standpoint, it's almost indetectable, right? And so people have to be critics and really have to be critical thinkers in terms of being able to evaluate the information. So what does that mean? That means that you need to identify the sources that you're looking at. You need to cross-reference and be able to look at other trusted data sources. The other part is that a lot of us operate in echo chambers. So we're online and we're in these systems or in these places where we're hearing the same information as reinforcing our existing beliefs, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to rely on ourselves to cross-check information, I mean, a lot of us don't have time for that. So, I mean, we're just going to go with what we hear in a lot of those situations, right?
Yes, and then the challenge with political ads is that they create polarizing topics that are really divisive, that really, and this is a bipartisan statement, right? So it doesn't matter which campaign or which side of the aisle that you're on, it's going to create, and it almost feels like there's only 2 or 3 issues that the world even cares about. Abortion, economics, right? So you have the billionaires against the middle class, and it creates a visceral type of conversation. But even if you look at the stuff that's online, so there was an actual post that Elon Musk had reshared, and it was one that had a deep fake on there. But if you listen to the video, you could see that it was VP Harris, and the content didn't align with her position, right? But the interesting part is that Elon Musk is a trusted source. Now, whether you agree with his positions or not are one thing, but he's a real person. He has a platform. And so now this information is being shared, and there are people who are going to take that at face value.
Has there been any kind of study or look at the facts to see how this misinformation is actually influencing voter behavior? Have we had any hard kind of studies done on that or anything like that?
So yes, there's a lot of information out there. But we also know just the psychology of how humans work, right? And so these ads are based on emotion. They're looking to create a visceral type of response, and we know that there has been a proliferation of content that's been created, right? And so now people are being inundated with all of this stuff, and the reality is that they're going to have to kind of figure out how to cipher through it, because even though there are detection tools, it's very difficult to be able, the average person is not going to go use those tools and be able to figure it out. And the other part is that some of these tools are creating false negatives, right? And so, or false positives. And so the reality is that it's really difficult to get consistent feedback on being able to validate an actual source or not.
Okay, we've kind of looked at AI in the negative kind of way. Is there any way political campaigns can use AI in a positive sense?
That's a great question, and the answer is yes, right? So they can use it to micro-target their actual audience. They can use it to be able to evaluate and then create narratives and information that would direct the campaign's, position to a particular base. And so it can be used in a very positive way. The reality is that the low-hanging fruit is that it's easier to be able to activate your base and to be able to get people talking about it and to create viral moments when it's stuff that really gets people politically charged. And I think that's the challenge, and that's the part that, as a citizen, that we don't enjoy watching.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Hodge, thanks a lot for opening our eyes to what AI can do, positive and negative, to influence voters.
All right. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
All right, always a pleasure. Hey,